Let's talk about embarrassing mayors, this time from Calgary. That city's mayor is pretty much the mirror image opposite of Toronto's Mayor Rob Ford. Rob Ford is despised by the media party, but he's a friend to taxpayers, running a huge surplus, privatizing government services like garbage collection, cutting taxes like the car tax, etc. Nenshi's the opposite. He's loved by the media party, but he's been a disaster for taxpayers, spending millions of dollars on bizarre expenditures ranging from giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to an anti-oil sands lobby group called the Pembina Institute to spending a whopping $25 million on a pedestrian bridge called the Peace Bridge. Seriously, there is no stupid idea that Nenshi won't throw other people's money at. And don't even get me started on his total payoff to the government unions in that town. Naturally, to do all this, he's raised taxes in Calgary by 32% in 4 years. But hey, he hasn't been made fun of on U.S. late-night comedy shows like Rob Ford has, so there's that. Anyways, this week, a Calgary businessman named Cal Wenzel filed a $6 million defamation suit against Nenshi for rough comments that Nenshi made about him in Calgary's election campaign earlier this fall. None of the allegations in the lawsuit have been proven in court, and no defense has been served yet, but let me tell you about it so far. Wenzel is a home builder, and in Calgary, that means he does business in the booming suburbs of that spacious city. I mean, one of the best things about Calgary is that there's so many wide open spaces, and so many people have a backyard. It's a great place to buy a home. But Nenshi is run on an anti-development platform, announcing massive new taxes on suburban homes. He wants people to live crammed in downtown condos. It won't surprise you to learn that Nenshi is a bachelor, so maybe having a backyard for kids and living away from downtown crime and traffic isn't really something that's important in his own life. Well, Wenzel hosted a meeting of like-minded businessmen and outlined a plan to support a group of candidates running for city council to oppose Nenshi's anti-business high-tax regime. Of course, someone covertly videotaped Wenzel's speech, and Nenshi pounced on it, claiming it was proof there was a secret conspiracy of rich businessmen who wanted to run a slate to get rid of him. Now, the irony is that no one except a few fringe candidates actually did run against Nenshi for mayor. For all of Wenzel's tough talk of raising money to support a conservative challenger, well, there wasn't one. Wenzel had talked about raising $1 million for the Manning Center, founded by Preston Manning, to support conservative candidates. What a joke. So what you had here was the worst of all worlds. An ineffective, conservative, quasi-political party made up of amateurs like Cal Wenzel and a Manning Center that was good at taking pot shots at Nenshi, but couldn't actually find anyone to run for mayor against him, and all talking about raising $1 million to defeat him at a private meeting caught on videotape. I mean, talk about a political gift for Nenshi. For the rest of the campaign, he could shadow box against this mysterious secret society of plutocrats who were out to get him. He had the videotape proof of it, all the while he was really running unopposed. And of course, he had the biggest campaign budget of all. It was hilarious and sad Nenshi, the sitting mayor with a huge campaign budget, could claim to be the underdog, and he could beat up on any critic by simply suggesting they were part of a shadowy group of underminers. It's pitiful that a city of 1.1 million people, home of a conservative prime minister, Stephen Harper, and a sort of conservative premier, Alison Redford, allegedly the most conservative city in Canada, couldn't field a conservative candidate for mayor, let alone win. Frankly, Calgary deserves Nenshi good and hard. Enjoy your tax hikes, my friends. But hey, at least you're not on Saturday Night Live like Rob Ford has done to Toronto. Think about that when you get your next property tax bill in Calgary. So when I heard that Wenzel was suing Nenshi, my first thought was, sore loser. I mean, Wenzel and the Manning Center couldn't organize a two-car funeral in that mayor's race. They couldn't field a candidate. So here's the sore loser lawsuit, which just continues to support Nenshi's narrative that he's been bullied and threatened by rich businessmen. Wenzel couldn't win in the court of public opinion, so he's running to the court of law. But then I read Wenzel's lawsuit for myself. I didn't realize what Nenshi had said about him on the radio. He didn't just say that Wenzel was mean or secretive or politically unacceptable or even just plain old personal insults like calling him a dummy or a liar. Nenshi made very specific statements about Wenzel, saying he had broken the law and had admitted to breaking the law. Listen.
Let's not be ridiculous here. This is one thing that I don't understand, which is why everyone's being so polite. We had a scene right out of the movie Godfathers. We had a guy admitting that he broke the law in 2010 in favor of one candidate, Ward 7's Kevin Taylor, running again. We realized the law cannot actually be enforced. It has no enforcement ability. We had a guy telling people in a room how to break the law in this election and going through every single race saying, this is the counselor that will oppose Nenshi. Make sure you vote for the guy who opposed Nenshi. Make sure you give them money. And I invented this? Let's not be ridiculous.
Sorry, did you just call Cal Wenzel the Godfather?
Maybe.
So that was on the radio in Calgary. Now, believe me, I know what it's like calling people names. I call Trudeau the shiny pony, an airhead, a pretty boy, vacuous, childish, unserious, etc., etc. Those are all my opinions. And I say them in a way designed to land a political blow. But that's different than saying Trudeau is a lawbreaker. That's not an opinion anymore. It's a fact. It's either true or not. Nenshi didn't just express an opinion about Wenzel. He said something that hasn't been proven yet or even charged, that he's a lawbreaker. Now, I think Wenzel should grow up. I think suing shows Wenzel is thin-skinned and, frankly, unsuited for politics. I think if Wenzel wants to get Nenshi, he should get him by running for mayor or supporting someone who does run for mayor. I think Wenzel should make his case to all Calgarians, not just one judge. And the fight should be on the issues. God knows Nenshi has created enough issues of disagreement, especially by hiking taxes. I think that as a rule, political lawsuits are abusive. They're designed to chill political disagreement. I myself am the target of about a half dozen nuisance suits right now, all of them designed to cost me time and money. Oh, and one of those threats was from Naheed Nenshi himself. A couple of years ago when I criticized Nenshi for Calgary's jihad against a Christian pastor named Arthur Pavlovsky, Nenshi sent me a lengthy, threatening letter implying that if I didn't immediately apologize and retract, that Nenshi would sue me for defamation, just like Cal Wenzel is doing to him. Now, Nenshi, of course, had no case against me, but he certainly tried to scare me into silence. Didn't work. Now the shoe's on the other foot. And Nenshi doesn't like it one bit, does he? I think Wenzel should drop his suit. And I think the law in Canada should be changed to provide greater freedom of speech, especially about political subjects. That's my principled view. Freedom of speech, even for politicians who take personal attacks at anyone who disagree with them, like Nenshi. But let me tell you my practical thoughts, too. This lawsuit would surely go away in a heartbeat if Nenshi would simply say in public, I'm sorry, I went too far. Mr. Wenzel, I disagree with everything you do and say, but you're not a lawbreaker. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sure the lawsuit would end right there. And if Wenzel actually did proceed in the face of such an apology, he'd have no public sympathy and probably none in the court either. But I also know that Nenshi is congenitally unable to apologize. He's never done it in his life, ever. I've known him since high school because Nenshi has too much pride. A few months ago in a Twitter debate with him, he flippantly accused me of beating my wife. Of course, it wasn't true. It was a bizarre personal smear by Nenshi, which is what he does when he's losing an argument. Now, of course, I didn't sue Nenshi for that. I think his greater punishment was for thousands of people seeing his true character, that he'd accuse someone of something outrageous just because I dared disagree with him. That's what he did to Wenzel, too, though. He accused Wenzel of breaking the law. It's Nenshi's standard play. But Wenzel didn't laugh it off like I did. He's suing. Now, if Nenshi wants to waste his own time and money instead of apologizing, that's his funeral. But in this case, it's not. See, Nenshi is asking the city, that is, Calgary taxpayers, to bail him out. But it was not City of Calgary work that got him sued. It was his personal campaign, a personal radio interview, smearing his personal enemy. And now that enemy is suing Nenshi, not suing the City of Calgary. But Nenshi wants the city to backstop him, pay for the lawyers, and surely pay the $6 million if he loses. And though I disagree with the strictness of Canadian libel law, having read the lawsuit, I think Wenzel will probably win. I don't think the mayor of a city can call an upstanding businessman a lawbreaker on the radio under our defamation law. Now, the media loved it, but they love anything Nenshi does. Taxpayers, though, well, hell, they voted for Nenshi. And now they'll be asked to pick up a $6 million tab for his vicious campaign. But hey, they got the most popular mayor in the country, according to Nenshi himself. Calgary taxpayers are about to get what they voted for. They're about to get Nenshi good and hard for $6 million.